And yeah, again, a very warm welcome to you, Norman. It's a great pleasure to have you here in our online retreat. And yeah, I've been looking forward to this talk for a long time. We tried to make it happen a couple of times. I'm really happy it's happening now. And I guess we'll get some great insights into your work, what you do, and also more insights into meditation. So maybe just as a quick introduction, for those who don't know who you are and what you do, I will quickly give an introduction. So we know each other from both being neuromeditation instructors. So you were actually the first meditation instructor in Germany. That's how we know each other. And you're also an occupational therapist. So in German that translates to ergotherapeut. And you're also a naturopath, which translates into Heilpraktiker. And you're an expert in neurofeedback, biofeedback, and peak performance. So you started your own program with peak performance. So very interesting field as well. And you're director of one of the largest neurofeedback institutes in Germany. And you started doing research on neuroscience and meditation to get more knowledge about what's happening in the brain while people meditate. And I guess that's how you kind of joined the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza. So you're part of his research team, doing lots of measurements and scanning lots of brains while people meditate. And yeah, today we have the opportunity to learn some of your findings and get some insights and case studies to know what you're doing, what you discovered, and what's happening in the head while people meditate. So yeah, very much looking forward to the details. And maybe also an introduction for those who don't know the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza, just to give some more background here. So Dr. Joe Dispenza had an accident in his early years with several back fractures. So he broke his back on several spots, and he decided against all experts not to go into surgery, and he decided to heal himself. And he did that by meditation. So he meditated day after day, always visualizing, using creative visualization to picture himself being healthy again, and did that intensely for a couple of weeks. And what experts didn't claim possible, he actually achieved. And so he went into the work of finding out how that is possible, how it's possible to heal yourself by pretty much thought alone. He's written several books. One of them is You're the Placebo. So it's actually about how the placebo effect works and how people can heal themselves by just thinking they're getting a cure and taking a pill that has some medication in it. But if it's a placebo, then it's just they're thinking of getting a remedy, but still the body reacts to it. The studies show it. And so there must be a link between what you think about health, what you think about yourself, and it actually has physical effects. And in that book he actually explains how it works to like transform your body, and also how epigenetics can play a role here, and how you can actually change your gene expression by your thought alone. So I think this is a very interesting field. I was hooked the moment I first heard about Dr. Joe's work, and so I was also very amazed that you, Norman, are part of the research team. And yeah, I'm very happy you can give us some more insights into what you do, some case studies of your findings. And I would think that you give us an introduction, a few case studies, and then also we leave some room for people to ask questions. And everyone who wants to know more has the time to ask questions.
Okay, thank you so much, Marbot. Hi, guys. I'm happy to be here to invite me in this event to share my experience and maybe some interesting cases. Maybe I can add some things. First of all, please excuse my bad English. So English is not my comfort zone. But if you want to develop yourself, you have to get out of your comfort zone, you know. So I try it. I give my best. If you don't understand something, feel free to ask Marbot. He will explain you.
Yeah, I can surely jump in, or hopefully I can.
Okay, so that's right. I started with occupational therapy around 35 years ago, and there I worked there with a wide range of people of all ages and different disorders and different goals and whatever. But my interest was always been the brain and the behavior. You know, that was very interest for me the whole time. So I visit some special education like for the brain, and it was so interesting. So I saw some or the lecturer or teacher take a look on some picture of the brain, and he can give you a completely review how you think, how is your behavior, where is your disease, whatever. So that was crazy for me. So it was so interesting. And so what do the symptoms or the behavior have to do with the brain, and how you can influence the brain? That's so interesting, you know. So it was it's opened my brain, you know, for it, and it was a completely new way. So nobody heard from neurofeedback or biofeedback here in Germany. Okay, it was very new for 20 years. So I learned more and more about the connection between symptoms or behavior and the brain. And so it was the beginning of to learn the body-mind connection, you know, how reacts the body of the mind and how reacts the mind of the body, and both together. And yeah, so I came across neurofeedback relatively quickly. So I think so I do it now for 15 years. On one way to train the brain by measuring itself and giving the client immediately feedback about this brain activity. It's very helpful, you know. It's a mirror. It's a mirror for the brain, and it's how like a dancer, they need the mirror for the posture, you know, how you stand, and that's the same how like the brain. So thus the clients learned to regulate his brain activity himself, as self-regulation or self-healing, you know, a little bit. So it's very interesting. They don't need more drugs. They do it only with her thoughts. Well, that's interesting. So,
and in neurofeedback, it doesn't have happen consciously, right? It's all the subconscious. You just show the brain whether it's going the right direction or not, and that's pretty much all you do. The brain self-regulates.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Yeah. So sometimes it's a little bit both. You know, you can also maybe stir it in one direction with your consciousness, you know, but that's only 10%, you know. 90% how we're thinking is the subconsciousness, you know. So come on and surrender and let the brain do the work, you know. That's in the most parts so much better, you know. Okay. So this kind of self-regulation and modulation was beginning for me of a deep friendship, you know. So, and I was so fascinated that I did all the workshops and education I could find in this area. A lot was in America, you know, and so in English, so it was also not my comfort zone.
Mhm.
So, but I learned, and now I understand English very well, but I don't speak so much English, you know, so, but yeah. And within 3 years, I was, or I learned the most things from one institute in Germany. It is the institute from Thomas Feiner. He's the founder of the IFAN. It's an institute for neurofeedback. And so I don't know how many education I get there. So well, I got there, and so I was a lecturer and trainer in 3 years for the largest institute for EEG neurofeedback. Okay, that was very interesting for me. So, and over time, I got to know more and more biofeedback processes, such by heart rate variability. So you can take a look how is the function of your heart. It's very interesting. So then of muscle feedback, temperature feedback, blood pressure feedback, and so on and so on. So a lot. And I was fascinated by the incredible possibilities that we have within ourselves to heal ourselves without medication. I'm a therapist, so that's very interesting for me. And we just needed to get the right information to do this, and so we could access our normally not so we normally we have not access to the autonomic nervous system, you know, so we cannot have access to the subconsciousness. But biofeedback allow us to get access in this and regulate the system. And the autonomic nervous system regulates our internal processes in the body. It regulates hormones, immune system, metabolism, blood pressure, muscle tension, heartbeat, all this function, you know, in the body. So we have not access with our consciousness of this. So it's running automatically. So my work is not only brought with people with diseases. So I have also a lot of people who want to increase their performance, you know. It's a little bit how like biohacking, we call it today. So that's golf players, tennis professionals, racing drivers, so manager, and so on and so on and so on. Okay, they all will develop their performance, you know, to make a better job. Or maybe,
so that's the peak performance program that you developed.
Yeah. Yes. So also yes, I went in the direction of peak performance more and acquired other skills. What I can do there, I don't know a lot. Now it's a little bit too much. So, but visualization, things, hypnosis, breathing techniques. You are the experts from MoveNut with breathing techniques and meditation and so on and so on. But always the biofeedback and neurofeedback was the focus, you know, so also in this work. And maybe it's also interesting how I get in this work. And the most, for me, it's very important that I have the experience. What is peak performance, you know? And so I make this experience of peak performance in, I am being free climber for myself for 20 years now, you know? So I'm climbing in the mountains, and I know how important is the mental state in this sport, you know? So 90% of the time your head disease, whether you will reach your target or not, you know, it's very important. So if
that's so interesting, because usually you would think like something climbing, it's about strength and being powerful and maybe flexible enough, but yeah, it happens in the brain. And also I experienced it as well when I was bouldering, that sometimes you don't actually manage to do this one area, but if you visualize it, then for some reason it works. So that was something that also grabbed my attention. Like, how is it possible that so many things, especially athletics things, work more with mental training and rehearsing in your mind?
Yeah, and it's so immense, you know. So when I'm climbing on a wall, there's maybe 200 feet height, you know. That's and I'm climbing, and sometimes I'm thinking, oh, what you doing here? And take behind me and under me, and think, whoa, that's deep. Okay, and then it's coming fear, and I cannot more react so natural, you know. So it's not more a natural movement, then it's only I thinking about it, and then I stuck, you know, and I cannot go, maybe reach the next grip or whatever, so the next step. So, and that's very interesting. And then I learned to regulate myself, you know. So I have a mantra. So that is, I'm not the body, I'm even not the mind. I'm not the body, I'm even not the mind. And then it's very interesting. So I focus more and more myself, but it's not a very closed focus, you know. It's an open focus more. I'm more open. I'm not more my thoughts, and I do it only for my intuition, you know, the next steps, and then it's running so good, you know. Okay,
yeah,
so
I have the same experiences when doing balancing in MoveNet. So it's always about open your focus and don't focus on what could go wrong or how high things are. That's really important aspect here.
yeah, absolutely. So surrender and do it. Only do it. Do what you do.
Yeah.
You know, don't think about it. And now to my work, to a scientist or a researcher from the team through Dr. Joe Dispenza. In my workshops, I have always meet a lot of different people, you know. And 6 years ago, I was asked again and again if I would like to Dr. Joe, or I have knowledge from Dr. Joe Dispenza. No, I never heard Dr. Joe Dispenza, you know. So, but he's a writer, a book writer, a lecturer. So I don't know. He have wrote now, I think, 5 books or more. The most of a bestseller. I don't know what is bestseller of English. So, but okay, so on. And so then it was very interesting. So it was a workshop in Hamburg, and it was a progressive workshop. And I go on this workshop. First, I read I read these books, and it was very interesting. So what is the difference to other lecture maybe? So for transformation or mind and body connection is that he measure all, you know, he prove all, and that's very important. So spirituality and science are connect now, and that is so important for the people to believe what's happened there, you know. So that was really interesting. So science, I have always dealt with placebo, self-healing beliefs, and so on. It was so interesting, and then I learned there are some interesting meditation for materializing, you know. So materializing, I don't know if you know what it is. So to bring some things what you have in your thought in the real 3D world here, you know.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. I'm beginning to visualize a little bit. Okay, it's very interesting, this kind of meditation. I will do it. Maybe it's a good idea, you know. And I sit there and visualize. It's the same how like in peak performance, when you visualize your excellent run from your performance, maybe, you know, that you thinking about it. How is it? How feel it in your body? How's the emotion then? So you make it very real. And so I meditate and I think, okay, I will work with Dr. Joe Dispenza. That's very crazy, you know, this story. and so on. And so I started meditating daily and tried to manifest this in myself. Okay. And five months later, I got a call from Thomas Feiner from the IFM Institute and Daniela Debelic. She's in our brain research team. And she was sometimes, I don't know when, on one of my workshops, you know, but I get it. And so there, I get a call from this boss, and they're told me, Norman, come on, so here's your ticket. Okay, we will go to Italy and measure brains by Dr. Joe Dispenza. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, maybe it's a good idea to meditate a little bit more, you know?
So it can happen that quickly.
And yeah, science, this time I measure now a lot of very incredible things, and I'm so happy to be a part of this team, you know. So it's blows my mind. So what I saw there, that's not only, so for me, it's every time it's important that I don't have only the knowledge. For me, it's very important that you have the experience of this, you know. That makes real, only the experience, not only the knowledge, you know, what we have. And yeah, so there I met other inspiring people. I don't know, Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton, are a lot of very nice guys, and learned new techniques, very, very nice techniques. And based on this experience and measurements, I founded a new institute, what's called a Genius Release Institute. And where I apply, measure, advise, and help people develop further in the field of meditation, healing, and performance. So I have seen things that the mind and the body are capable of, and I know that we are not at the mercy of our fate. That's very interesting, you know, very important. But rather determine our fate ourselves. We create our reality. You know, so yes, and now maybe I will show you some interesting scans.
Yeah, absolutely.
Saw there and what I measure, and after this we have maybe some time to talk a little bit, or you have questions or whatever. Okay.
Yeah, great.
Thank you so much. Okay, so then I will.
Yeah, we can
share my screen. How it's now.
And maybe also to give some more background, Joe Dispenza gives workshops and retreats all over the world. And the research team travels with him and then does lots of scans and measurements on the participants while they apply their learned meditation techniques. And that's then when you every now and then happen to come across one of these mind-blowing scans.
Yes, so that is other nice things that we are traveling the so beautiful parts of the world what you can image, so that's very interesting. So this work, okay, and what I'm very touched every time on all this workshop, I cannot tell you what was my biggest experience or also the best experience. All experience are so mind-blowing, and all the people are. I'm very touched every time when I go to these workshops and saw thousands of people. Okay, there are 2,500 and more people. They meditate together, And the interesting thing is that most or a lot of people have some issues or some diseases, but they stay there and they are very happy, They are laughing, they're in love, They are so grateful. And that's very interesting. So I never saw on another workshop so many people. They are so in love with herself and with the community,
Yeah, I must imagine this is a very special energy that's going on with so many spiritual
a
people.
lot of high energy and attitudes. That's crazy. So every time I'm very touched,
Yeah.
So why it's so wonderful. Okay, so you can see my screen.
Yeah.
Okay, then, okay, I will do it very quickly, there are a lot of slides. So first I will give you a introduction a little bit about the brain. Little easy and very short, Okay, so that's the team, the brain research team, the core team from the research from the brain, but we have a lot of researchers. Maybe you can, we have people from the Heart Math Institute.
Mm-hmm.
So we have some scientists, they are take blood measurements for and take a look on the immune system and how like the stress hormones and how they are regulated. Some people are there are measurement the DNA,
Mm-hmm.
and telomeres that will tell you how long is your life, your biological life, and it will be longer when you meditate. So that's very interesting.
Yeah.
So a lot. Okay. So, and the question is every time, so how we can measure, can we measure meditation? And yes, we can. We have the opportunity to watch your brain live at work, and that's interest. So it's not only a picture, how like MRI, now we do it live when you meditate. And so we have seen a lot of incredible moments in this moment. So, and we have fantastic results, and this still exists, and that's very interesting that we have 17,000 studies that already exist on meditation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting. That's a lot. Okay, oh, that's a picture how we measure. So you see there, most people have a cap. So that's the sensors. So where we can grab up the brain activity, the frequencies. That's now a healing meditation. That's also a very touching moment every time when 8 people sitting in a circle and they will heal other healy, they lie on the floor, and I saw some things that's so crazy. Nobody, when somebody will tell me this, I think, oh yeah, okay.
Can you give an example of that?
Okay, yeah, so I don't know. So there are people, so what for me, it was so, that was very emotionally. So it was one people there, I don't know what was the disease, I think multiple sclerosis, you know, and there people sit in a wheelchair, you know, in the wheelchair, and there have his beliefs are, I cannot more go, you know, I can't go more. So there, and that's for 10 years, you know, this person sits 10 years in this wheelchair and need assistance to go in the bed, on the bathroom, on the toilet, whatever, you know. And then, so after one session, so it's a whole week, you know. So that is the peak of the event and the healing meditation stuff. So when you get your energy to, and you give not only your energy, you give your whole life, you give your love, all, you know, you give your life for his life. And that's very, very intensive. And then this was, in this moment, I think, that's not real. Or after the session, the participant stand up from the wheelchair, you know, stand up from the wheelchair and be, oh, that's what's going on here, okay? So, and then that's why I get a goosebump, you know, when I was thinking about this.
Yeah.
So, and then a lot of people stand in a row, you know, so, and this participant goes again, he goes in the middle of the line of all the people, and all the people are clapped in the sand, and he was crying. It was so intensive, and that's some example, or a very clear example how we can go over ourselves and go over our beliefs, you know. So that why he was in this moment, for him was very clear, okay, I can go, I know it, okay, and it's not a question, I can do it, and then he do it, you know. That's interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, can an example be more picturesque than this? Someone who has been sitting in a wheelchair for 10 years, and then after a healing session, he stands up and walks.
Yeah, incredible. But you will do the unlimited, you must feel unlimited, you know. That's very important for this world. So, okay, so the question is about why we meditate. And so in this 17,000 research, we found a lot of things, maybe better concentration, mental fitness, happiness, more mindfulness, so more compassion, better stress management, emotionally stability, better physical perception and intuition, and more creativity. So that's a lot of benefits, but we have a lot of more. But it's a good example to take a look on the brain, and there are a lot of areas there involved in meditation, you know. The most part is the frontal brain, and the other part is also changed. It's so in the middle of the brain, the limbic system, you know. So, and what we found also is EEG correlation of positive emotions. Our own our brain so communicates in frequencies, you know. Say and all frequency is a carrier of information, and this information gives us maybe about the emotions, you know. And we see that the correlates for the emotions are also impact the physical heals, you know. So how maybe stress, how stress impacts the physical heals. Okay, and now I will show you very quickly the most important frequencies in the brain, and that's the first one. That's delta, and now it's running. And delta is the own frequency of the neurons. It's dominant when we sleep deeply and our brain is inactive and we are unconscious. So, but it's very important. Why? It's very important for regeneration of our body, you know. And sometimes we can see it in brain maps from very good and advanced meditators. So it's a sign that the body is sleeping, but the mind is awake. That's an interesting state. Okay, the next one is then comes theta, and theta is important for storing and retrieving information, and this happens most when we sleep. So in the dream phase. So this phase, so we call it rapid eye movement phase. So that is when the eyes move from one side to the other very fast. And in this fast, we have access to our subconsciousness mind and become greater mental creators, you know? So you know it, that is the moment when you go to sleep or when you go falling in sleep, or this moment when you wake up. That's so nice. So you have a lot of picture maybe or situation. Sometimes you can manipulate this, visualize things, and so that's a very important state of the brain in meditation. So, okay, it looks like, yeah, alpha, it's also really important in meditation. So alpha lets our mind and body slide into a calm, relaxed state. So in this frequency that comes from the thalamus, and that's inside, it's the door of our consciousness, you know, and it connects the body and mind. So that is the language from the brain, how it's called with the body, you know. So that's the connection between body and mind. And we will relax, but still aware. That is, so the feeling from the body is, okay, so I'm very calm and relaxed, but we are aware of it, what's going on in our environment or in our body, you know. So it's a good state of relaxing, imagings, visual explorations, introspection, or daydreaming, or whatever you want. What's very interesting is that alpha and theta, these two frequencies, are very important in meditation. Why? That's the door to the subconsciousness. And that is completely, or that is exactly between theta and alpha. And that opens the door to profound experience. So that is why I call it the Twilight Zone, you know. And so that's the first step for the mouse to go in it. So then come beta, and beta is the normal frequency of the cortex. It's important to process information and to hold your focus or intention. And so it's possible for you to focus your attention maybe on me, process this information, and also still write down for what do you important parts for you. And so there all the process what you do when you awake, you know, that's a state of alertness, engage in work more, and the absolute normal awake brain patterns, you know. It's focused on one task, maybe. So, okay, that's the next one is high beta. It's a faster version of beta, and we've seen it's in a very high concentration, hyperfocus. So, and it could be measured also on snipers, that's interesting, but just before they're fired, you know? So it is a very narrow focus, very narrow focus. So, and the brain is running in full speed, and that's interesting. We often see this in stress in the brain. So we often see this in an anxiety or chronic stress. If we stuck in a survival mode in the brain and in the fight and flight modus.
Yeah.
And so that's a fear. But it's very interesting. So why high beta, that's not every time it's high beta only a sign of stress. So, but in meditation, we often see synchronized, coherent high beta, you know? So it's very, very coherent in the brain. And that is before the human being switched to super consciousness in the gamma frequency. So gamma uses this synchronized high beta as kind of springboard, you know? It is why it is too difficult for the brain to produce such a high coherence frequency. Coherence means so all the neurons in the brain and all the part of the brains which will fire at the same time, you know? So it's
like an orchestra really being in the same rhythm, so to say. Like the whole brain is in synchrony.
Yes, absolutely. And so we can try it. So we can find it out if I clap slowly my hands. You can follow me easily, or
not on Zoom, but in real life.
In real, but or maybe also in room. But you can follow my hands and do the same. Okay, when I do it very slow, but when I get faster and faster, it is much harder to clap the hand to the exact time. Then we are not longer coherent, you know, and the energy, so the volume, will be not get higher or increase. Is it right? So it means so when we see more synchronized, we see more energy in the brain. So okay, and that's the next one. So then comes gamma, and so we don't know so much about gamma, so it's very new analysis of gamma, so it's not so easy to measure gamma. So the problem is so that the gamma frequency is so high, and it's beginning sometimes at 25, 28 hertz and going on to 200 or more, 250 hertz. And so it's sometimes you cannot see the difference between muscles, why muscle has the same frequency, you know, when you have tension maybe or whatever. So it's a little bit complicated, but we can do it. So, and gamma is a mystical and enlightenment frequency of super consciousness, you know. So it's connects to deep emotions and information to a big whole, you know. So, and so everything is put together and make a higher sense in this moment. Some people, they have experience with gamma, they have the feelings that from completely clarity, you know, so they get informations in these moments, but a lot of information, and can all processes, all makes sense in this moment, you know. That's very interesting state. So, and thus gamma was abundantly measured by monks from Tibet, where the Dalai Lama sent it here to measure. And this monks there have, I don't know, more than thousands of hours meditation practice, you know. That's a lot. But now it's very interesting, but they would rather have measured by Dr. Joe's workshop that blows all the measurements, you know. So the amplitudes are so high, that's unbelievable. So, okay. how we measure and how we can define, okay, what's normal and what's not normal. So it's we take statistics. I don't know how good you are in statistics. So in statistics, that's but we use it, and that's now, it's a bell curve. I don't know if you have knowledge about it. It shows the average of a normal distribution of a range of people, and it's measure the normality a little bit. So like IQ or size or weight, or in this example, the height, you know. And we need the, or we call it C-scores, you know. So, and so we have there the average in the middle. So there are now a lot of people. There we have smaller ones, and we have tail people. So they are larger. And so when we have maybe one, or here 50 people, so we have one average in the middle, you know. So, and the statistics told us, okay, the average is not, that's only the mean, you know. So, but the normal is that we have also people, they are a little bit higher, or they are a little bit larger, you know. So both, and that means that is the norm. The norm is 70% what we measure there, you know. That's a lot. And so we can do the same with the brain. And so we have measured thousands of people and take a look on the brain pattern, and then they get a statistic value, you know. So 70 of all what we measure there was normal. But then we have people there maybe have a little more or less than activity, and then we call it standard deviation. They have one standard deviation, okay. And when we have one standard deviation, it's a little bit more, so it's around about 90%. So, and then we have more than one, that's two standard deviation, that's then 99%. And over 3 standard deviation, so we are only 0.3%. That's nothing more, you know. So that's very important to understand now the picture, what I will show you, you know. So, okay. And so there are the colors in the maps. So all is in Greece, that's more green, or the lightning colors. And so we have on the right side, it's the blue ones. There goes more in the minus. They have less than activity. Okay, I hope you understand it. So, right, that's really interesting. So, and in EEG, it's so high amplitudes are more neurons firing, so stronger electrical power. So you have more energy in the brain, and low amplitude means less neurons firing, is less electric powering in the brain, you know? So, and that's one case, the first one. And so the measure, the effect of the events, we often use pre and post measurement. Mm-hmm. So when they come to us, so there we measure before the event starts, and then immediately after the event. And the first picture, this one is before the event. And if you remember, red means too much activity here in the beta band. And this is often a sign of stress. And stress often manifests itself in fight and flight modes. In fight modes such as anger or rage, you know. So, or in a flight mode, that's such as depressed. Mm-hmm. Make a sense? Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then the comparison here is just after 30 minutes of meditation.
You know, this one is now in this measurement, that is in the live measurement. That's interesting. So after the meditation, so it was a short meditation. So, and it's after 30, not of meditations, it's after 30 minutes, not meditation. So it's mean, okay, so they are improved her brain and regulate her brain in 30 minutes of meditation, you know, that's very interesting. So exactly after the, or exactly, so we have meditations, maybe I will explain a little bit, some meditations, so there are maybe 30 minutes to 4-hour meditations, you know. And when we take a pre-measurement, so or pre and after meditation, so in the events, so we take the whole, or we take a look on the live measurement and take, okay, how it changed the brain live, you know. And that's very interesting that we see in this meditation a clear normalize of the whole brain. So it means this person is in 30 minutes balanced and happy, you know. And I see that in the development of this event. At the first, the people are very still separate from each other, and the attention is only on themselves and on their anger and of all their thoughts. And then in the event, the magic happens. And then they meditate together and have similar experience. They are connect to each other and they are hugging together. They are laughing together. They are help each other. They are love each other, you know? And that heals the brain and that heals the body.
Okay, and so with a quick look on the watch, so we have 5 minutes left. So I guess we can go into this, and then maybe open for 1 or 2 questions if we can manage that.
Okay, no problem, no problem. Oh, sorry, I'm not in time here. Okay, then I will close. Okay, maybe I can show you. Oh no, you know, I'm stopped, or is it right? Okay, I'm open now for questions.
Okay, I didn't want to like jump in straight away, but also Felipe is slowly preparing for his ceremony, so we don't want to take too much of his time. But yeah, I kind of feel like we've just opened the topic, and it kind of calls for a second part to invite you again and then dive deeper into the topic here. But yeah, hopefully this was giving a quick introduction for everyone into the topic. And yeah, if any questions came up.
Maybe one last sentence, okay, to this one. So I talk now about statistic. And now that you can image what we measure standard deviations, how like 200 standard deviation out of the norm, you know. And that is interesting. 200, where they come from the Jupiter or from the Uranus? You know, that's one of, I don't know. So that's very interesting.
So statistically speaking, this is one brain in a million that has been measured with such an intense electricity in the brain, right?
Not million, I think billion.
You
know? So that is superhuman, you know? That's a supernatural. So what there happens there, and that's transcendental moments, you know. And transcendental moments, they will change her life, you know. That is how like a positive trauma. So what there happens then, they are in moments they are feeling only love and only a connection to a higher source, you know. And they have the feelings they're coming home. And I mean, not to the husband, you know, the other home, the big home, you know, and that change her life completely, you know, and they are free from anxiety, free from depression, free from other autoimmune diseases. That's really, really interesting field. And you are one part of this. So I'm very proud of you. Okay, now the questions.
Yes, we open up for questions.
Thank you very much, Norman, for the introduction. I mean, I can see how much you do and how deeply you are in the whole thing. I'm trying to get a grasp of this energy thing in the brain. So the way I understood is when we go into the high beta and into the gamma, the amount of energy in the brain increases, right?
That's right.
So
absolutely. Yeah.
I had, you have this idea that you only use 1%, some percentage of your brain, and there's people that can use more percentage of the brain. I was thinking, when you have this much energy in your brain and you go, how does that come together? Is it really a good way of looking at the activity of the brain in terms of percentage, or is just really this energy scale? I'm trying to understand.
Okay, sorry, I can't understand it. So it was very quiet. So, but I think I know what you are on this, what you mean. Okay, so you mean where comes the source? Where's the source from this energy?
Yeah.
And you mean, okay, in the normal, so we used not the whole brain. We used only in the normal daily living, maybe 1% of our brain. You know, is it right?
Yeah. That's what I was.
Okay, yeah, that's right. So energy is how we need more energy when we have more coherent in our brain, you know, and that's real. That's what you mean. So when the whole brain have one goal and go in one direction, you know, that is when maybe there are milliards or billions of neurons in the brain, and when they are firing together, you know, a huge of energy will coming up. So the interesting thing is how you can introduce this energy to what's happened there. And I think there are, when we are relaxed in a relaxing state first, so that is the first step, you know, you must relax and you must surrender in this energy. And that is the first step is theta and alpha, you know, that's the first state, the subconsciousness. And then you will create a higher energy. I don't know how, when you are then in this open space and flying around the universe, and then you are not more connected to yourself, to your ego, you know, then the magic will beginning, you know. Then you tune in a new frequency, and that is a higher frequency. And I don't know how it's happened, but what we measure, and now it's very interesting, it's coming from one gland, from a gland in the middle of the brain, from the living system, and there is one gland, it's called the pineal gland. And the pineal gland is that creates hormones, melatonin. It's a sleeping hormone. But when you are meditate and you will touch it a little bit, you know, then it will be get an upgrade, and it's not more melatonin, that's DMT. And the DMT is the highest and biggest psychedelic, natural psychedelic, what we have in our, you know, in our bodies. We can measure it in brains, we can measure maybe also in other things, but it's very interesting. So the DMT thing, you know, why DMT, it's only, we produce only DMT when we born, and the most one when we dead, you know, when we died. And the third thing is in meditation, when we have lucid dreamings or transcendental moments, you know. So we open a new way to a new frequency, maybe in a new reality, you know.
Yeah.
That's a real upgrade of your body.
Yeah. It's also nice to see that you have access to this. So because before it was like you cannot use that much part of your brain. It's like I was understanding it like it's just like a fixed percentage, but now I see it's like a living thing that can, you know, sometimes you use less, sometimes you use more. And when you use more, you go into this immediate neuroplasticity, transcendental situation, everything changes. And you tell me this from the scientific point of view, and I've seen this also with Wim Hof, with the breathing, people also sclerosis, wheelchair, comes into Poland and can't walk, and then 5 days later you see the same guy take the chair, throw it into the water, and then jump into the ice cold water, you know, because through the breathing you go into the theta states. We measure it with Marbot as well. When we do the Wim Hof breathing, you go down into the frequencies, and then you can change and you can go into this amazing state. That's a great worlds. That's so interesting.
That's so cool. Yeah. Okay. I hope you invite me, then I will measure your guys there.
Yeah. I mean, we tried once with the cold, right? But I think we can do it more. We can do it again.
Yeah, also it calls for a mutual retreat, of course. So we all get together and then measure the stuff
that we're playing it. So
yeah.
So we're playing it.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Looking forward to that. Okay, maybe we can squeeze in one more questions, and then we will hand over to Felipe. Also, Bernd made
they will experience now by herself. So,
also Bernd made the comment regarding the energy that also a laser has coherent light. So that's also when you can get so much energy onto just one spot. That also happens using coherent light.
Yes, that's right.
Coherent waves. Okay, so if there's no more urgent question, then I would say, Norman, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to have you here. As I said, I think it kind of was just the beginning of a deeper, very interesting talk. So hopefully we can invite you again, have you here again, and then continue this talk. And I know you have lots of interesting slides, lots of interesting measurements. And I think we just started to see the tip of the iceberg. So thanks again, Norman. It was a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I hope you enjoy the event, and maybe you will have also this high experience. We all have it in us, so that's very important. So stay healed, and see you in my future.
Cool, Norman. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, and I will directly hand over to Felipe. We can have a little break for everyone to relax, and then Felipe will take over.